Welcome to the third annual Bickett Hubbell tomato tasting. So these are all tomatoes that I've grown in my garden, and I'm going to rate them and tell you how they are. Last year I was lucky to have my daughter Jennifer and her daughter Cora join me, and we actually had some of her husband Biff's tomatoes in the tasting. But I felt like I needed to do the tasting this week because the garden, the tomato plants are just starting to get a little bit brown, and the tomatoes overly ripe. So I'm definitely gonna have to figure out what to do with all those tomatoes out there. But let me show you what I have ready for the tasting. All right, well, I've got all the tomatoes here in front of me, and they're all named, so you'll be able to see them as well. I am going to be tasting 8 tomatoes. There are 2 more tomatoes in my garden that have not yet produced, and so they're not on this list. The fun thing about this is I'm using my brand new Limoges China from Matt's great-grandmother. So these are the butter pats. Oh, don't you just love them? Whoa. Yes, so I'm using these. And then of course, over here, I'm using this lovely little, I think maybe a celery dish for the crackers. I'm going to be cleansing my palate after each of the tastings of the tomatoes, so we'll get a more accurate idea of how they taste. Plus I have my notes, of course. Let's get started. Well, we're gonna start with the Madame Marmande. It's a very large beefsteak tomato, and last year in our tomato test, it won first prize. Biff also grew this last year. It is supposed to have a rich, sweet flavor. Let's just see. Look at the inside of that. Gorgeous. All right, a little bit of something. Very moist, very sweet, but not overly sweet. Definitely tomato tasty. I like it a lot. Let's just see how it measures up. This one is Thornburn Terracotta. This is a very productive tomato. There's lots of these on the vine. They're kind of a golden brown color, and it's considered an heirloom tomato, I believe, because it first was produced in 1893. So let's see. Lovely inside. Looks kind of heirloomy. A little more tomatoey, more liquid on the inside, lots of seeds, a little bit sweet, but tangy too. I like it. I would say it is similar to Madame Marmande. Is that possible? Just gonna take a little break. Nothing like having a break with your gorgeous Crystal. A little bit of a cracker, make sure my palate is cleansed. Okay, next one, Bronze Torch. Let's see. Well, they look bronze. A little bit of a striped green there. Okay, here it is. I'm excited to taste this one. It is the 2022 Tomato of the Year. Holy cow, let's check it out. Check this baby out. Okay, inside lovely. Has a little bit of an oblong shape. It is a very heavy producer. Lots of these on the vine. Okay, let's see. It's lovely, really lovely. Subtle sweetness, moist, little acidic. I really like it. I think I like it better than the other two. Next one. The next one is Sun Gold. The Sun Gold is a cherry tomato, very prolific. I have to admit here, this has been one of my favorites for the last 2 years. And maybe that's because I like sweet tomatoes, because it definitely has a sweet taste. But let's see how it compares to the ones I tasted. I already cleansed my palate. This is interesting. I eat this every day because I go out into my garden and pluck it off like a candy. And I like it a lot, but I'm surprised it doesn't taste, it almost doesn't taste as sweet as the Bronze Torch, or I don't know. I have to think about that. The next one is called Pink Ping Pong. Because it looks like a ping pong ball. What's interesting about these is that they're a little bit like a cherry tomato, but they're not a cherry tomato. They're more substantial, so you get more tomato from them. They're incredibly prolific. Of all of my plants, which many of them are very prolific, I would say that this one is the most prolific. But I haven't tasted one yet, so let's see. I liked it. Tastes like a tomato. I don't know what to say about that. It tastes like a tomato, like a store-bought tomato. I think it would be great in sauces. It doesn't have any particular sweetness necessarily. Very tomatoey. This is so professional. Next up, the patio tomato. There's different varieties of patio tomatoes. It simply means they're to be placed in pots. They thrive in pots. So this one is in my front yard in a pot. And it's done okay. It's very, very small though. Look, it's tiny. So really the only thing you could do with it, the best thing to do with it is just plop it into a salad. And it grows very low, so it's only grown about this tall. Let's see. Okay, it was good. A little bit sweeter than when I tasted it plucking it off the vine out there. Maybe it was more ripe. It doesn't have much to distinguish it though, so I don't think it'll be a top contender. Okay, the penultimate one is the Estrella. It means star in Spanish. And I think it must be called Estrella because it looks like a little constellation. They come in these big, large clusters. It's really quite gorgeous, isn't it? It's also a cherry tomato. I haven't tried this one yet either. Let's see. I love it. That's crazy. I love it. I didn't expect to love it. I didn't think it was gonna taste like that. Wow. It's sweet. It's sweet and lovely. A little bit of acid, not too much. Really, this would be the reason that a tomato is a fruit. Excuse me, a fruit. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I'm just gonna eat the whole thing. Here's the last one, Sun Sugar. This is ranked as one of the top cherry tomatoes. One of my readers said that she grows it and she loves it. So I'm trying it, and it's also very prolific. It's all over the garden. It kind of just, it just grew everywhere. So I'm excited to see what this tastes like. I also love it. It's a little more acidic than the Estrella. a little more dense than the Estrella, but of course smaller, but really good. Oh my gosh, I don't know I'm gonna be able to make a decision. The results are in. I know you're dying to find out. All right, here we are. So we'll just look at the top 3 first. Estrella came in at number 1 with 9.7, getting the first place ribbon. And the funny thing about Estrella is there's not a lot about it when I researched it. So it's kind of an unknown to me, but boy, was it fabulous. Now, Sun Sugar took 2nd place, but you should know that I have a preference for sweeter tomatoes. So both of these are sweet. And then down here we have the 2022 Tomato of the Year, Bronze Torch, which was really lovely at a 9.0. Now the rest of them did well. Madame Marmande, which we started with, was a 7.5. The Thornburn Terracotta tied. And then the Sun Gold, which has perennially been my favorite, did well at an 8.0, but not quite the top spot with the 9. The Pink Ping Pong, I think, is going to be great for a lot of things, but just as a taste tester, a 7. And then the Patio at a 6. It just didn't have that much going on. Now comes the task of harvesting all those gorgeous tomatoes and figuring out what to do with them. If you have great recipes for tomatoes, please send them to me. Have a great weekend.